The system is failing. We're going to have more homelessness, more unemployment, and the government has to print more money. It's a command and control economy where the government tells you everything. I just don't trust our government. And they're going to have to start printing pretty quickly. And the more they print, the less value, purchasing power the dollar has, or the loonie, or the yen, or the peso. People are talking about inflation. I think we're in depression right now, and we're going to be the biggest depression in world history.
In the 1970s, that's when the world was changing.
The biggest bust in the history of the world is coming up. It's pensions. They trusted the government. They trusted their pension would be there, and it's going to go bust. And that's us. We get crushed.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today, as we have a lot to go over. Plenty of things developing with the Ripple case, the macro, and specifically bombshells dropping left and right with this FTX hearing. Plenty of information is being uncovered by acting CEO at FTX, John Ray. And we're going to get into all of that, but first, this is the second time in the past week we've heard someone say a Ripple settlement will be catastrophic for crypto. U.S. congressional candidate January Walker said a potential Ripple settlement with the SEC would be a loss for the whole world and Web3. She states we need Ripple to win this case, not settle. And while I 100% agree, I've made my point very clear on this channel. We as the XRP army should not care. And we should be hoping for a settlement because it benefits us. We'll have XRP being given full-blown clarity. Ripple will be allowed to operate the way it wants to. And then the rest of the crypto space will go through a lot of turmoil. I remember about a year ago, Jeremy Hogan stated that while XRP is beginning to end its case, the rest of crypto is going to suffer the same fate Ripple is going through right now. While the maxis and the ETH heads were over here cheering for our demise, now the rest of the crypto community wants us to continue to battle because they realize how important this case will be. The Ripple vs. SEC case will be a precedent-setting case for the entire crypto market, and everyone's beginning to recognize. However, I hope that XRP gets given clarity, we settle, price shoots up, and then we can use our XRP profits to buy up the blood on the streets from the rest of the crypto market. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember that the interest rate hikes have continued. We saw a 50 basis point rate hike, and there have been narratives and discussions about when the potential pivot and the interest rate hikes will take place. It seems like inflation is being tamed enough for the Federal Reserve, and I'm cautiously optimistic that we're almost at the end of the road as far as rate hikes are concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be real here. These interest rate hikes have been catastrophic for the crypto market. On top of that, FTX, Terra UST, all of these things this year have made 2022 one of the bloodiest years in crypto history. But one thing I have to say is, for the XRP army, this has been one of the most explosive years for the confirmation that we have always been correct in investing in this digital asset. I'm going to be very honest with all of you. I don't know what the future holds for Bitcoin. I don't know what the future holds for Ethereum. Ethereum could come under the scrutiny of the SEC for the ETH 2.0 merge. The rest of the crypto market could come under threat of the SEC. That's very real. But one thing I can tell all of you is with the facts being presented in this XRP case, and with the partnerships and technological developments Ripple and XRP have been giving in the public eye for all of us to see, if you live under the paradigm that XRP could be the future king of the crypto space, this has been a powerful year for all of you. While the rest of crypto is uncertain, For XRP, the writing's on the wall. Central bank digital currencies are launching globally. And while the US is dragging their feet through the legal process, the rest of the planet is on standby, ready to use XRP. That is the reality. And as much as Bitcoin maxis want to tell you otherwise, as much as Jim Cramer wants to tell you XRP's a scam, the facts speak for themselves. Russia, Japan, Uruguay, South Korea, Ukraine, Thailand, Brazil. Retail CBDCs rolling out. XRP will play that instrumental role in CBDC adoption. So much so that the mainstream will rarely ever mention XRP's name. You barely hear SWIFT mentioned in mainstream media. Yet they help process trillions upon trillions of dollars every single day. Same will happen with XRP, and the XRP army will get so wealthy in silence that our friends and family are gonna ask what the fuck happened. Right now there's extreme fear in the crypto market. But right now is when you can make generational wealth to secure your future. Don't be dissuaded from the exchange FUD that we're hearing today. There's a lot of FUD of Binance potentially going bankrupt. This sounds a lot like how China was going to ban Bitcoin in 2017, right before we went into brand new all-time highs. That is how the emotions in the crypto market feel. FTX was catastrophic. Binance could be in trouble. Tether is definitely a Ponzi. But I personally believe that every single thing I've been telling every single one of you for the past 3 years have been coming true. So there's no reason for all of you to believe that XRP adoption and price appreciation won't come as well. But everything has been happening in sequence and in short order. I guarantee you that we're going to get a lot more clarity about crypto regulations, a lot more clarity about FTX, and regulatory clarity for XRP. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play you a series of clips that are going to help all of you understand what's been happening in these FTX hearings. All of this will keep you informed with greater context of what's happening in the overall crypto market. And I hope all of you understand that the fraud that occurred with FTX is not indicative of what digital assets are. FTX was a centralized Ponzi scheme. Digital assets are your lifeboat for when inflation comes again and when you need assets to protect your wealth. I'm extremely confident that the crypto market is going to make the most wealth in the shortest amount of time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
We're conflating topics today. Digital assets are not on trial. Fraud and organizations are on trial. So let's separate digital assets from corrupt organizations. FTX, as I've been saying for the last few weeks, is good old-fashioned fraud. And what they did is separate from digital assets. Now, we've all heard that FTX lent its executives hundreds of millions of dollars in commingled customer funds for personal use, and customers who tried to wire money to FTX were instead given Alameda's routing number. That is fraud. That's fraud whether it's conducted in US dollars or euros or digital assets. That is fraud.
How convenient. Sam Bankman-Fried arrested hours before he was due to testify before Congress. Did someone get nervous about what he would reveal? Congressman Lee Zeldin says House Republicans were going to grill him 6 ways to Sunday. Zeldin wanted to question him under oath about his relationship with regulators and his political donations to leftist causes. The arrest and the cancellation of the hearing keeps things under wraps. Too bad. Just when you need to let the sunshine in, transparency is shut down.
Let me dive in. A day after FTX filed for bankruptcy, multiple outlets reported that there was a hack or potential theft. You have stated unauthorized access to certain assets occurred and that the company was in touch with law enforcement officials and regulators. Have you determined whether, in fact, assets were moved out after the bankruptcy?
Yes, clearly there was assets moved out after the bankruptcy.
And do you know whether or not that was an actual hack, or was this done, as has been reported, at the direction of the Bahamian authorities?
It was both.
It was both. And so some was done. Some was done as a result of a hack. Some was done as a result of the request of the Bahamian authorities.
Yes, that's right.
And do you have indication as to why the Bahamian authorities made that request?
Well, it wasn't a request. They just took it.
The Bahamian authorities took the funds that were at FTX
Yes.
through their own action. Was no action required by FTX employees? Maybe you could provide just a little color.
They were aided by the ex-employees, yes.
They were aided by former employees
Yes,
of
Mr.
FTX.
Yes, Mr. Wang and Mr. Fried.
Is it in the eyes of the Bahamian authorities, did this to protect clients and creditors? Do you have insight into the motivation behind this action?
Unlike the Chapter 11 process, there's no transparency in the process in the Bahamians, and we've repeatedly asked them for clarity about what they've been doing, and we've been shut down on that.
That hopefully will assist this committee's investigation. And then I want to move on to some additional points, time permitting. Mr. Ray, there were over 100 corporate entities within FTX Group. Some had boards of directors and others did not. Was there a group-level board of directors overseeing the entirety of FTX?
No, there was not.
Would you agree that it's a bad decision for a complex firm like FTX to not have a top-level board of directors?
Yes.
Do you have concerns about the concentration of power in a small group of inexperienced individuals with no oversight?
Yes.
Did FTX.com have basic corporate functions like an accounting or human resource department?
No.
Was there a legal department at FTX.com?
Yes, there was.
Was there a compliance department?
There were people with titles.
Fair enough. And thank you. To assist the committee's investigation, would you agree that a financial firm the size of FTX needs accounting, human resources, legal, compliance, and risk departments to help prevent something like this from happening?
Absolutely.
In early April 2022, FTX and IEX announced a strategic partnership. Last week, the Financial Times reported on Alameda's venture capital portfolio, which listed FTX Trading's $270 million investment into IEX as a, quote, acquisition. Did FTX Trading acquire IEX? And if not, what type of investment did FTX Trading make into IEX?
I'd have to get back to the committee on that specific investment. I'm not sure that was completed.
Can you provide us with some information on it?
Absolutely. I can get back to you on the staff on that.
We know that Chair Gensler had more meetings with FTX than anyone else in the crypto industry. We understand that what was being negotiated was a framework for digital asset exchange registration and token registration with the SEC that would benefit both parties. It would expand the SEC's jurisdiction in exchange for the SEC's preferential treatment of FTX over other industry participants. We understand there was a lot of activity to move this idea forward, including the circulation of draft short-form disclosures that would enable filers to get tokens listed on this newly formed bespoke exchange. Mr. Ray, I know you're handicapped with the information you currently have obtained, but Chair Gensler refuses to answer our questions or testify before this committee. Will you commit to sharing with this committee any internal documents you come across regarding communication between FTX and Mr. Gensler or others at the SEC?
We'll fully cooperate, with the committee and the regulatory authorities with respect to our investigation.
Again, specifically, I just want copies. This committee will want copies of those communications to the extent they exist.
we can certainly work with your staff to get you what you need.
Thank you. And Mr. Ray, I appreciate you mentioning your concerns in the beginning of my questioning about the concentration of power in a small group of individuals with no oversight. That is the exact problem that open and permissionless technology like crypto and blockchain solve. It solves for the problems of centralization. You stated in your testimony that you've never seen such a, quote, utter failure of corporate controls at every level of an organization, from the lack of financial statements to a complete failure of any internal controls or governance whatsoever, close quote. FTX had disastrous or even non-existent systems for accounting, audit, cash management, cybersecurity, human resources, risk management, and other unacceptable management practices that currently make your job to uncover the facts quite difficult. Fortunately, the immutable characteristics of public blockchains that some people would care not to understand in this committee allowed the crypto community to reveal Sam Bankman-Fried's fraud, and the on-chain public record will assist law enforcement moving forward. I encourage my colleagues to understand Sam Bankman-Fried's con for what it is: a failure of centralization, a failure of business ethics, and a crime. It is not a failure of technology. I've worked across the aisle since I came to Congress, so the future of crypto reflects American values, the same way the internet does today. For the most engaged members of Congress on crypto policy, the FTX collapse reminds us of why we care so deeply about this technology.